Thank you for meeting with me, Joanna. Um, could you introduce yourself and what you kind of would describe yourself as?
Hi, Danielle. Thank you so much for having me on. It's really exciting to be here. My name is Joanna Read, and I have multiple career identities. So I work full time for a nonprofit in Rhode Island, helping other nonprofits be better, which is really fulfilling work. I have a few different side hustles. So I have an Etsy shop. I was selling hand painted silk scarves for a number of years, and now I've switched my artistic focus to more two-dimensional work. And I'm also in yoga school to be a yoga instructor, and I'm going to be taking on life coaching soon as well. So, yeah,
Oh, awesome.
yeah.
That's great. So I know a little bit about this because we were at undergrad together, but what when did you decide to pursue a career as a professional artist?
Well, it's such an interesting question because as soon as I graduated college, I happened into a job working for an art gallery. So I was doing administrative work for them and helping hanging shows and doing some of the programming and things like that. And it's interesting because I wanted to obviously earn money and be involved in the arts, but I felt for a long time that I was holding back, and I was on the observing end of being involved in art, but I wasn't making my own. um, so I decided to have art be a part of my revenue stream when I moved, and I was working for a nonprofit and not making ends meet. And so my choices were, I either pick up a second job. Well, I have to pick up a second job, so what am I going to do? How about I try and make some money with my art? One of my first friends who I met in Rhode Island, she was taking an indie business online course and asked me if I wanted to do it with her. And I had just started dabbling in silk painting. I had made like 3 scarves. They were really, really, really loud. And so I took the course with her, and it just became this ongoing experiment of doing shows and then building an Etsy shop and a website. So it happened really organically, but it was a decision that I made to start being more of an artist and less of just on the receiving end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I know it's funny how like one thing evolves into another, and then the changing marketplace that Etsy has become this way for artists to make money on the side and to kind of control what I like that you can put yourself in vacation mode or like limit your items if you're not in the frame of mind to put it out there. But yeah, that's awesome. um so as a professional artist, do you feel like you wear a lot of different hats?
Yes, I wear many, many hats, many different hats. And I feel like that is a common theme with people in our generation, and not necessarily people who would first and foremost identify themselves as artists, but I just feel like the way that the economy is turning, many of us need to wear different hats, and we need to have our funding streams diversified. And I think the biggest challenge for me in wearing these different hats is maintaining an authentic creative voice. It can get really easy to be sucked into just the business aspect, or the marketing aspect, or the finances, or what's going to sell. And ultimately, what it keeps coming back to is I need to be true to myself. I need to be true to my artistic voice. And to do that, I really need to give myself permission to take a step back from wearing all these other hats, and
Yeah,
you know, being myself. So
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important to give yourself your own guidelines because like we were talking about before, where we have all these tools to make money from our business, and then you start to see that certain things are selling better. Do
Mm.
you start making more of that, or do you say, you know what, I know that's popular, but this isn't what I want to do right now. I want to do me. I want to do what makes me happy. So having those different guidelines are really crucial. So like I know you said you work full time, but how do you divide your creative time?
Yeah, that's a great question too. And it took me about a year or maybe longer to figure out how I really want to spend my creative time.
Mhm.
And I've almost always felt this pressure in the back of my mind. Like, if I'm going to be making art, I need to be doing it for a solid, concrete purpose. I need to be doing it to bring money in so I can do other things. But it just doesn't fit at all with who I am. And it stifles my creativity to no end. So that's why I really, really like having a full-time job, is because I've been on the other end of working part-time and having most of my revenue come from my art. And
Yeah.
I felt like it's really stifled my creativity in a lot of ways. Um, so I got off track. I forget what your question was.
Oh yeah, no worries. So like, so currently, how do you divide your time?
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
like work on evenings or weekends, or like what is the best schedule for you, or do you have no schedule at all? Just kind of when you're inspired, you go at it.
Well, I try to be mindful of the fact that I work in rhythms, and I think everyone works in rhythms. So
Yeah.
I like to have some structure, but also maintain an awareness to be able to know myself well enough to know, okay, I need to take a step back. I need to go out and be social right now.
Yeah.
Or, you know what, this is calling me. If I don't lock myself in my studio all weekend long, I'm gonna burst, and it's just gonna manifest in nasty ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real, I mean, it's a real sweet spot, and it's always
Mhm.
kind of oscillating. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, I know. It's like the more people I talk to about like questions like that, it's really interesting how everybody's really different. Um, but I think yeah, you really can't. The one thing I think I hear a lot is you just can't force creativity, but
yeah,
you have to allow the opportunity for the inspirational times.
yeah.
But
I
yeah,
would
so
I would argue that a little bit though,
yeah.
because I think there's a really fine line between forcing creativity and getting yourself to be a little more disciplined in your.
Mhm.
So, like, for example, I did, just to see if I could do it, I did a drawing a day challenge.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, in February, and it was
Ah,
just with me and a friend, so we held each other accountable. It
yeah.
ended up to be like more like 5 days a week instead of 7 days a week.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
did find that just like designating that sacred time each day,
Mhm.
I was a happier person.
Really?
Yeah, and I did find that other areas of my life kind of struggled a little bit. Like, it was harder for me to keep the houses clean, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there is something to be said for not just working when the spirit moves you. Like, sometimes
Right.
you gotta get there and see what shows up on the paper.
Yeah, there's definitely a prioritizing that needs to happen where you need to say, okay, this is as important as the other things that I do.
Yeah.
Um, I did in preparation for the website, I did a one pager on how I actually prioritize my time, is that I time myself doing a lot of different things. And I time myself when I'm painting and when I'm doing my art, just kind of as it's a total mental thing that I'm just giving my art the same priority as I am client time. And
Hmm.
so even though it doesn't translate into money, it's in my it's in my slotted, time management system. But yeah, I think you're right about that. And so do you ever run into challenges? I know we've talked about a few, but anything in particular?
Yeah. I think the biggest challenge for me has been in striking that balance and in giving myself permission to use my creative time in ways that may not necessarily be producing this great artwork. I think I have a really hard time with letting myself just play and, try things outside of my comfort zone. So I'm really trying to be mindful of that and keep a beginner's mindset as much as I can. I feel like it's a very common theme with artists to want to be making awesome stuff and want their work to be validated, right? And like everything's got to look great and this has got to be so cool, but like we have to allow ourselves the time to make those messes and to make all the things that we never want to show people, and to be okay with that and to sit with it and to realize that if there's any voices that are saying, oh, this sucks, you should just stop, like just realize that those voices aren't yourself, they're just a part of your brain that's trying to hold you back. So I think that's my biggest.
That's a great call. I used to have an artist's studio next to me, and I used to get so sad because he would paint over a lot of his own stuff. But I think so, like I'd come in and be like, oh my God, where did that go? But I think it is refreshing to say like, this wasn't working, but I tried it, and just like know that failing is just a good way to find out where you're going next without staying safe into something that you're comfortable in and works. So that's a really good call. But so do you have any advice for artists who aren't making a living yet on what they're making?
Yeah, this was advice that I was given back when I was working at the Art Association from one of the artists there who is a full-time artist, Betty Lou Schlem. I remember her telling me that if I ever were to find a job that could pay the bills and just keep my basic needs met, that it would help me flourish and thrive in my creative practice. So you don't necessarily have to go all in all at once and try and make it happen. I think that you can, and I think it's brave, and I think it's good to try things that you're really scared of. But I wouldn't discredit having some kind of full-time or part-time job outside of selling your art, because it does, open up more opportunity for you to be more creative and take more risks with your work.
Definitely. I agree wholeheartedly. So what's next for your art career? You were talking about moving back into 2D. So do you have a direction?
Yeah, so oh my God, I have been having so much fun exploring animal symbolism and how different animals are metaphors for different things that are happening in my life. Yeah, and I really love being outside in nature and just observing in real time. And I'm working on a new piece that's behind me that you can't see yet. But, I'll just say it's really exciting. It's something a lot different for me, and I see a lot of different directions that this can move in. But I want to just keep doing what's calling me. And I'm feeling pretty excited. My heart's beating really fast right now, just thinking about painting.
That's great. That's the excitement and the inspiration that we all strive for. And I'm excited to see what comes out. And so where can people find your work or look for what's coming next?
If you Google my Google my name, a lot of stuff will show up. Some that I'm proud of, some that I'm not. No, edit that out. You can find my work on my website, which I hope to update at some point. And maybe this website will help me figure out how to do that. But it's joannaread.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for you talking with me today. I really look forward to seeing what's next, and I'm sure we'll be in touch soon.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you so much, Danielle.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the opportunity.